Okay, so we are live. Thank you so much for joining us on a brand new episode of 420 Grams, our second consecutive episode. तो सबसे पहले घर पे अगर जो भी बैठ के शो देख रहा है भाई ताली मार लो, क्योंकि ये कुछ अजूबा ही हो गया यहाँ पे। पर ये बात भी पक्की है कि हम अपनी ना बढ़ावा करते हैं और उसके बाद 4-5 दिन हम लोग दिखते भी नहीं है। तो आज मैं ज़्यादा बोलूँगा नहीं, क्योंकि आज मेरे और दाढ़ी वाले इंसान, और यहाँ पे 2 दाढ़ी वाले इंसान हैं, लेकिन जो आपके पॉलिटिकल एडिटर 420 ग्राम्स के पॉलिटिकल एडिटर, उनकी बात नहीं हो रही। बात हो रही है आज 2 फॉर्मर इंडिया प्लेयर्स and friends of the shows who joined us on the show. Ishfaq Ahmed is joining us from the bubble where the दाढ़ी is matching the bubble feel. सर क्या मतलब वहां पे शेविंग अलाउड नहीं कर रहे, क्या कर रहे हैं? मतलब उसमें भी कोरोना निकल गया क्या आपके? वो क्या कहते हैं जिसमें पेस्ट निकालते हैं और बनाते हैं दाढ़ी?
भाई ये होना चाहिए ना, कुछ लगना चाहिए बबल में, कुछ बबल से बबल वाले इंसान थोड़े डिफरेंट दिखने चाहिए ना। फिर फायदा है कि
सही
आप
बात।
भी क्लीन शेव, मंगी भी क्लीन, मैं भी क्लीन शेव रहूंगा, फिर पता नहीं चलेगा बबल से कौन है।
सर मैं आपको एक बात बता रहा हूँ, बबल वाले इंसान की मेरे को हो गए अब यहाँ पे 2.5 से 3 हफ्ते बबल में। और सच में बता रहा हूँ, 1 हफ्ते बाद कढ़ाई पनीर, चिकन शाशलिक, मटन रोगन जोश, तरियां सेम, कुछ नहीं बदला। उसके बाद से तो कोई नहीं पता क्या हो रहा है, क्या खाना मिल रहा है ये। मतलब तो बबल इज अ टफ लाइफ। बट लेट मी इंट्रोड्यूस आवर सेकंड फ्रेंड ऑफ द शो एंड I'm sure all of you know, of course, all of you know who he is. We have Goramangi Singh who's joining us. Mangi, thank you so much for joining us, भाई. बड़ा ही आपका ये आर्टिस्टिक फ्रेम लग रहा है कि आप कहाँ है ये बड़ा अच्छा लग रहा है पीछे।
अरे आप लोग के शो के लिए मैं बाहर आके बैठ गया हूँ यार फिलहाल अभी।
Where are you right now, यार?
I'm in Bangalore. It's a cafe called Yogistan. So I live here. थोड़ा सा एक अलग माहौल ही है, but it's a really nice place. I recommend you all to कभी Bangalore आया तो please you all are most welcome here to.
तो मतलब
गलत
आप
कॉम्बिनेशन लग रहा है, योगी ऊपर बैठा है और योगी
हाँ
कैफे में
यार
ये
योगी के
बैठा
साथ ले रहा हूँ।
नहीं तो इसका मतलब ये है कि आप वाईफाई कैफे का इस्तेमाल कर रहे हैं। सो वी मस्ट थैंक द कैफे।
Yes.
और दाढ़ी वाले इंसान हमारे भाई who's made it all happen, as always looking as handsome and as always the guy who hasn't had a bath for 7 months. Good to see you. Good to see
ठंड
you
है
भाई।
भाई दिल्ली में।
ठंड ना सब भाई, हमारा पहाड़ों में बैठा है, वो पहाड़ों
वही यार
में
रूम का
अनडिस।
I'm sitting outside, sorry to interrupt, I'm sitting, मैं बाहर बैठा हूँ, I'm like with the hoodie. अब मेरा भाई मतलब दाढ़ी के साथ पूरा पता नहीं कहाँ पे हूँ भाई। हो रहा है यू मतलब ऐसा like
भाई थोड़ा उत्तराखंड आए हुए हैं यार, बिकॉज हमारे जो कश्मीरी भाई हैं वो आजकल बुलाते हैं ना खातिरदारी करते हैं, तो क्या करें, सब लोग बबल में ही घुस गए।
हम लोग खुद कश्मीर से बाहर है भाई, क्या बुलाए।
वही है ना, तो जो मणिपुर में दोस्त हैं वो भी निकल लिए सब। एवरीवनस गॉट बिगर फिश टू फ्राई। और कश्मीर वाले दोस्त भी निकल लिए, तो अब क्या करें, जहाँ people will have us, we have to go there. तो उत्तराखंड में बैठे हैं, जम की ठंड पड़ रही है, it's close to 0 degrees. Fortunately अंदर हैं तो it's not so bad.
I hope हीटर वगैरह है, मतलब don't get
हाँ
sick.
भाई लगा हुआ है, बगल में लगा हुआ है।
हाँ
अरे क्या बात है, क्या बात है। ठीक है, now that we've exchanged pleasantries, Ishwaq has already told us that he doesn't have much time, so I'm going to get straight into the action. And you guys who joined us for yesterday's show, you must have heard कि we were waxing lyrical about the young players who've come out this time in the ISL and how अपना वो pool of players to choose from is going up. अब इशफाक मंगी, बात ये हो रही थी, हम ये नहीं कह रहे थे कि इस बारी जो यंगस्टर्स हमें दिखे हैं आईएसएल में कि झट से उनको इंडियन टीम में लाओ। जमीन आसमान का फर्क है, आईएसएल में आप क्या खेल रहे हो, इंटरनेशनल में खेल रहे हो। बट द चैट वी वर हैविंग इज कि इफ प्रायर टू दिस टी मैच आप जो क्रोएशिया में बैठ के मैचेस देख रहे होंगे, prior to the ISL, if you had a pool of say 10 players, I'm just saying hypothetically, now that pool could go up by about 5 more players or 7 more players, and which is always good for a coach because you have more options and more players to choose from. So I'm just going to start with you, Mangi. Of the youngsters who prior to the ISL were nowhere in the India mix, India reckoning, just name a few youngsters you watched this season who you think यार अगर इन लड़कों पे थोड़ा ध्यान दिया, not ready-made product, पर ध्यान दिया तो शायद ये लड़के भी आ सकते हैं हमारी टीम में।
I think as you Arjun bhai, as you have mentioned, I think definitely number has gone up for sure, like अगर ISL से पहले Abhi now in the last few matches, there are few names, but I think I would one thing is Apuya. Like अभी भी just उसका मैच देख रहा था, like इसका, and I think for his age it's very matured. I mean not that मैं उसको चढ़ा नहीं रहा हूँ, but the thing is I think he has a long way to go. The way how I think 20 years, 19 or 20 years, and the maturity that he shows on the pitch and awareness of the game. I think that's something that he's playing वो दिमाग से खेल रहा है, like that's it's fun to watch. I mean, for that age, like I said again, I think it's way ahead, like of his age. That's what I feel. But I think he just need to put his head down and keep on going. That's one, I think, Apuya. Then another one is Yashi from Hyderabad. And
Hyderabad.
I mean, of course, one is playing sort of in number 6, other was playing number 10, like and also Yasir again, happy to have the ball, like, very confident. I know Yasir because he's from Manipur, and because in the off season and all, they used to come and we used to play or train at times. But I've seen, and it's been 2 seasons for him, and he's also one who love to have the ball and very confident. I love काफी game का awareness है, like just for that age again. So there are more names are there, but I think these two really impressed me more than any other player.
Ishwak, you reckon because ये एक किसी भी प्लेयर से पूछो जहां भी खेला है, जो लड़का बॉल चाहता है वो लड़का शाइन करता है, वो उसकी एक क्वालिटी दिखती है कि आप चाहे जितना भी डिफिकल्ट सिचुएशन हो, एंड स्पेशली दिस सीजन you've seen a lot of these youngsters, they want responsibility. It's easy to hide, you can hide if you want, but
Yes.
you want responsibility, you want to be impacting gameplay, और वो काफी youngsters में दिख रहा है इस बार.
Very right, as Mangi rightly mentioned few names. I think one, sometimes this pandemic has come as a blessing for Indian players, because a lot of foreigners have been injured, and many Indians we have seen playing now in first 11. So they are, like Hyderabad, for example, they have been starting with 2 foreigners. Many times other teams have started with less foreigners, and Indian players have proven that they can compete with any other team who has 5 foreigners and full squad available. So I think gone are those days when that was like, it's like you need only 5 good strong foreign players. I think it's good sign. Even Mangi mentioned few name. I will 2 left backs. I think one from the Mumbai, Vignesh and Akash Mishra. Both are doing excellent job, which is good to see. Whether the pool has become bigger or not, but it's yet still early days. 3, 4, 5 or 6 matches are over. I think we need to see more. You need to be consistent to be in the national team. You need to perform day out, day in. I don't think you can now judge that these guys are national team material. The players we have already mentioned. I think Mangi, we have been talking about Yasir last year also, quite iffy, but I think he still need to learn more. And I had many, I met him many times. We talked even when he was in Pune. Very good guy. He can play even left back, left midfielders, can play number 10 also, which is good. And I always like players who can play in many positions. And so overall, it's a good sign for Indian football. And, as you said, willing to work and willing players to ask for the responsibility, not just, you are giving as a coach responsibility, team is giving, they want the responsibility, which is good sign.
Also, Mangi, it's interesting because and since you guys have all come through age group football, right? सबका trajectory अलग होता है. आपने अपुया की बात करी. अपुया was not your playing 11 लड़का of the under 17 team. वो बेंच का लड़का था. उसको थोड़े मिनट्स मिलते थे खेलने के लिए. जो आपके प्लेइंग 11 के लड़के हैं वो तो बेंच पे भी नहीं दिख रहे अभी ISL पे. And here is one guy who's wearing the captain's armband.
Yeah.
You know.
I think if you are, yeah, if you're clear with what you want and how you want to go about, go with your career के साथ, like, how you want to go, then I think it's just a matter of time. Like that sincerity has to be there. Like, अभी अपने इस पापा ने, like, very rightly mentioned किया कि willing to work, willing to do the dirty work, like, like every day, that dedication, that determination. As long as you have that sincere, like, effort अंदर से आ रहा है, then I think, and you have the potential, you have the talent, then it's just a matter of time. Understandable, because they're all 19, 20, 21. So for
Mm.
them to just step in, walk into a national team, it's not going to be easy. But saying that some boys, they have sort of, in the last 6 7 games, they have been consistently playing, and some glimpses were there, where I think, they can be better. I mean, it's not that they can just walk in and be the best in the team. वो नहीं होगा. But these are boys. These are अभी आप जैसे पता है, Mishra. I mean, I think he's been, like, quite lively. I mean, even
Yeah.
Hyderabad
The
का
way he moves with the ball, with the ball.
yeah, yeah, with the ball is lively. Apna weakness ka just mentioned kiya. Like, very confident. Like, I mean, the good thing is, like, they are pretty to see that with the age, may, like, they don't have this fear of having the ball, asking for the ball, like, wanting the ball. होता है ना कि जैसे आप बता रहा था कि छुप जाना is very easy, like, कि यार,
Yeah.
मतलब hey, I want the ball. So demanding from their teammates कि यार मेरे को ball चाहिए, मेरे को ball दे दो, or so I think those are something that need to come from inside. So just but again, saying that, like, Priya, like, it's not just about the captainship, but the thing is, like, it's just a matter of how you want to go about your with your career. So like, but again, from their squad also, even Suresh, for example, I think
Suresh,
he's been
yeah.
brilliant for
Ninthoi.
PFC. Yeah, Nintoy, like, even today, I mean, they will take time, like, to take time. But the thing is, uh, like, again, maybe because of the apna COVID, to say, like, some of the foreigners, like, couldn't start the game, and I think that opened up the more opportunity for the youngsters to step in, and I think they took the opportunity quite well. I mean, so I hope that it's just a beginning, 7 games. I think I hope we are going to see more young boys or the faces, like, So that's all for the
Yeah.
best, and it's good for Indian football in the long run.
Let's get our very own youngster. भाई, कहाँ हो आप? बताओ. I don't know. I mean, I know you've been following the ISL seriously from this season, regularly, consistently. But either of all of you, Mangi and Shwak, can come into this. I just feel like a lot more coaches have bought in to the Indian project, right? कि यार खेल सकते हैं, थोड़ा मैं faith दिखा रहा हूँ उन लड़कों पे. And a classic case is, of course, Apuya, with Gerard New saying that, okay, ये ले कप्तान का armband, खेल, जो भी होगा उसके बाद.
Yeah, खेल represent कर, मतलब leadership role ले, not
Yeah,
just
so
on the
just
pitch, but
imagine
I
he's sitting
suppose
in on all the
overall
meetings.
also.
He's sitting in on all the meetings. He's there with the coach and everything, That's a huge responsibility.
Absolutely. I think so. Now that, at least in theory, we are looking at a system where in the ISL, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years down the line, the number of foreigners will reduce in order to kind of comply with the AFC norm of 3+1, which is 3 international players and 1 Asian player. Coaches have no choice but to kind of start to give more. Also, I think a lot of these boys have been now in the system for quite some time, right? So whether they're getting game time at ISL clubs, at state, sort of, some of the players, for example, Amir Ranawade and all these guys also played second division, as Mangi would well know. So they're getting game time in various positions, and then their coaches are saying that, okay, they have the ability, the responsibility, the willingness to do it at the big stage as well. And I think, I mean, you look at, like, if you look at Ishfaq's team and bringing Jackson on and getting that very valuable 1 point of East Bengal in the dying minutes of that game, it kind of reflects the fact that these guys are very much a part of the system, तो जो आप ट्रेनिंग ग्राउंड में सेट पीसेस वगैरह ट्राई कर रहे हैं तो उसमें ऑब्वियसली कुछ रोल है इन सब का ना, एंड दे आर नॉट जस्ट बीइंग ब्रॉट ऑन एज सब्स्टिट्यूट्स लाइक आउट ऑफ द ब्लू कि चलो नाउ वी आर 3 goals up, so let's bring on the kids to give them some exposure. They're coming on to do a role, to kind of inject something into the system, and for me it's a sign that the league in its own way, as is bound to, is maturing, it's developing, and it is starting to, and of course it underlines the role that the Indian coaching staff and scouting staff is playing in the whole scenario.
Yeah.
Where you know, there's trust between the head coach and the team management and the Indian scouting staff and assistant coaches and all of that, and all of it is coming together, which is I mean, I think maybe Thangboy Singto is the best example of this at Hyderabad. Clearly there's a lot of confidence in the boys that are a part of that squad this year, that they are playing with 2 or 3 foreigners at times in those positions, and the rest of it is, and of course it's not all, I mean, injuries and other things have a part to play with it, but yeah, it's a clear indication that the Indian boys, especially the younger boys, are not there just to make up the numbers because you have to have a 30-man squad or whatever it is, but they clearly have a role to play. So it's been really fun to watch, actually, for us who are looking at it from a more Indian national team perspective than from what happens in the league. बहुत मजा तो आ रहा है, and rightly they're saying that both Ishfaq and Mangi are saying that you have to be consistent. It has to happen over a long period in order for the national team coach to take notice of you and say, okay, maybe I'll bring you in and see what happens. But
उसका तो भाई पता नहीं, अगर आप 45 लोगों का कैंप लगा सकते हो और लेनी रॉड्रिगेज को नहीं बुला रहे हो पिछले सीजन के बाद, तो फिर मुझे नहीं समझ में आ रहा किस किस्म का आपने कैंप लगाया और कैसे आपने प्लेयर छाटे. बट इशफाक, मैं तो पॉइंट ये सिंपल सा पूछ रहा हूँ कि एनी मेड अ गुड पॉइंट. Did you see, like, initially, because ISL में ये भी एक कैरेक्टरिस्टिक है कि 1 साल 2 साल बाद कोच बदल रहा है, हर साल कोच बदल रहा है, right? So नया बंदा आ रहा है तो then you're trying to form a new relationship again, and that नया बंदा is of course dependent on what you say, because he doesn't have a clue of how the Indian players are playing, you know, beyond what you're showing on video to him or whatever. So did that take time?
Yeah, it does.
You know,
it depends upon the Naya coach also. No? He should believe you. You know, like it's not easy because they usually bring their stuff, and then whatever you say, and if he sees in that ground, then slowly that believe. But it might sometimes, you know, like we know that the performance is not always the same. It may go down, or in trainings, it may you know, like not look like that. They are doing good, you know. Then coach wonders, hey, my assistant coach said this Indian player is good, but he's not performing the same way. And but you know, deep inside these players are good, and how to explain how they can see it only when the players will perform. So I think it's a very thin line there, and there are coaches, you know, like who completely trust, and which is, you know, like I don't blame them, but that's how the football works. All the coaches have their own staff, and most of the staff have, you know, like are with them from long time, and they know their system and everything, what kind of players also. So in a way you're right, you know, like we need now longer plans for the coaching staff also to deliver. You know, it's not always you bring a coach and he will deliver in other way also, like bringing good foreigners and all that. It's never compulsory. But as Annie said, now Indian players you know, like in future also there will be we will follow the AFC guideline, and then you will have to play, you know, like more Indian players, where, you know, like the better team with better Indian players will have an edge always.
Mangi, yeah, that's a fair point, because okay, so next season we are going to 4 foreigners. अभी आपके 5 foreigners खेल रहे हैं.
Is it next season?
या इस सीजन आपके 4 खेल रहे हैं?
This season 5.
This season
5.
is 5, na? So
Yes.
next season you'll go to 4, right? Or you'll
I
stick
don't
to
know.
4 plus 1.
I
Okay,
have no idea.
so whenever it happens, Mangi, I'm just saying you've given the Indian pool also that's growing. How much will the game get impacted if we drop one foreigner and there is one extra Indian player in terms of the game you're seeing right now?
But I mean, I think we are ready. I mean, honestly speaking, we
Yeah.
are ready. I mean, we have the pool of players are increased now. I mean, the domestic Indian players are the pool. I mean, you have seen it. I think it's why I'm sure Bhai you will agree with me also. The kind of confidence that I see, the body language, I'm purely looking from not just the football playing ability, but their confidence, their body language, on the pitch. You could see that, like for me, I think so far, I love Roland Rogers, for example. Uh, I mean, he's been, I think, like COVID, whatever the lockdown, I think he utilized it very well. Like, I think
he's been covering his house only. इतना वो running कर रहा होगा stride पे stride पकड़ के.
I think put on some good, muscles, even upper. I mean, he was always good, but like he was a good athlete. But even I could see. I mean, I was like, wow. I mean, like I said, like I just wrote to him also, like you're looking very good. And like for someone like we're talking about a young upcoming, say Apuya. So Apuya need to compete, for example, for him to step into the national team, for example. That's still, I mean, that means like you. So what I'm saying is, you see some senior boys who had the experience in the national team and young boys who haven't had, but these are the only few names we are talking about. They are, I think, large. The pool is already increased. The number of the players are increased, and I think many
What do you think of Liston, Mangi? Liston Colasso?
Liston, I mean, it's interesting, Susie. Whenever he is on the pitch, he's interesting. But the thing is, like again, I think the right what was the consistency,
Exactly.
Yeah. So about that his strength is he got that burst, he got that speed, like that sharpness is there. The question is like when, how, where are you going to use that? So we could see the glimpse, but the more, I think, the more he get more game time, start thinking about it, when, how, where to use it. I think, but we could see the potential. We could see the confidence even with him also. He's demanding for ball. He's ready to take one-on-one. He's not afraid to take whoever is on in front of him. Any defender, whether it's a foreigner or it's an Indian, he's okay to take on that. But can you do it on the every week and every week in out? So those are the consistencies that
Can you do it versus Goromangi? Can you do it versus Goromangi?
कोई भी चलेगा हमसे यार अभी यार.
नहीं भाई फिर तो ये आएगा ना सीधा पड़ोम. ये आएगा ना फिर तो ज्यादा पास आएगा नहीं उसके बाद लिस्ट.
Arjun, we have an example of I think Manveer. Like 2-3 seasons now, he's showing more maturity. You can see this season he's getting more involved. In fact, he's involved as a player much better. He's showing, his different attributes of the game. Not only as a striker, winger, he can come and defend also. I think these players also, you cannot judge now. They are playing good. As earlier you guys mentioned Suresh. I'm very impressed with him. I think that somehow this season, or a couple of seasons, this defensive midfielder position is getting, a lot of good players are there, for competing.
Tangdi.
Spot. Exactly. So there are Apuya is there, Suresh, Jackson is there. Lot of young good players are coming up in that position.
Number bar, but which is good, right? For not just for the national team, but for we're talking about Agle Saal, say, if it's going to be 4 foreigners, but we have more numbers. I think that is good for the coaches. No, I mean, choose correctly if you
and Mangi, it's very important. For example, Apuya is getting chance. There are some other, players who are good who are not getting chance. You have to see who they are competing with. Also, there are some players make a smart decision. They go to a certain team where they know they can play.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that the other team, the guy who is not playing in other team, is bad.
Yeah.
You have to think also.
सर दुनिया का असूल है जो दिखता है वो बिकता है. ये दुनिया का असूल है.
No, true. I am not saying that's true, but international football is not like भाई आपने किसी मैच में देखा किसी को खेलते हुए और उसको लेके आए. फिर वहाँ पे it's not easy. We talk like, okay, we will bring anyone there and he will play. Mangi knows it very well. It's not easy. Even for the AFC Cup, when we go play to AFC Cups, or now we will face a club championship. You will
Bhai,
see that is the level you will be competing.
yeah, bhai, don't you think now since all this whatever like 6-7 players का नाम जो हमने अभी just mentioned किया आपस में, they are all in their early 20s or like 19, 20, 21, 22, right? So like अभी आप बता रहा था कि there might be some names who are not getting that much of playing time. अभी 7 matches हो गया, but it doesn't mean that they are bad players. But तो सवाल ये आता है कि जो अभी खेल रहा है, अभी थोड़ा जैसे आपको ना दिख रहा है अभी जो खेल रहा है, परफॉर्म कर रहा है. The question is कि they need to do it like 1 साल, 2 साल, 3 साल, 3-4 seasons like consecutive like season में. And उसके बाद सवाल ये भी आता है कि normally वो किसका बात सुनता है? I mean, like, so like either agent का बात, parents का बात सुन रहा है कि some senior players, like tomorrow they will get a good offer, for example. So are they going to just jump into a new contract? अभी ISL season के बाद तो इनको या तो extension के बाद आएंगे, इनको offer आ जाएंगे. So they might just go to a new club and just not play again. So I think it will be very important for them कि अभी ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए. You need to put the head down and keep on going and make sure that you get more playing time.
Not only this, by right now Amarjit is not getting much playing time. He's a fabulous player.
Very good player.
Yeah, so there is competition, like, and I think this Indian when it comes to the national team and international football, that level, it is completely different football. Like sometimes you get like one match after 2 months. And you have to be ready and perform in that match. And don't forget there are senior players already there.
For example, you look at ATK Mohan Bagan. And the Indian players they've got, right? They are all now, I would say, pretty much established internationals.
All-star team,
right? And they are building a team with the point of view of winning the league. There's no doubt about that. The results are also going for it. The way they are playing their football, I mean, we can argue that it can go this way or that, but the fact is that they're playing league-winning football. And so in that context, if you look at the kind of guys they have, whether it's Pritham or Pranay or Manveer, all these guys, with the Gurpreet at the back, I think we were discussing this yesterday. To me, he's clear number one. And Arindam would be perhaps his understudy. So it's fair enough what you guys are saying. Someone like Mohammad Nawaz, he might be getting to play every game for FC Goa, but he's going to have to do that for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, maybe 5 years before he ever gets a call up to play for the senior national team, I think. So this brings in an interesting, I think, angle to it. In your opinion, guys, both Mangi, Ishfaq, and Pandit, of course.
Thank you.
Because you guys brought up Suresh and at a club like Bangalore, which has a philosophy and a way of doing things that now we are all we seem to be familiar with. Are coaches looking to build these young players up as kind of the key parts? Because maybe we can argue that Bangalore is one of the clubs that's in a transition phase. So their Indian lineup is kind of reaching a veteran stage where in the next year, next 2 years, 3 years, they'll want to make changes to it. So are coaches looking at kind of building the team around some of these key Indian players who are at this stage very, very young, 20, 21, 22, like you guys were saying? And is that the mindset change that has happened maybe this season?
For ISL teams, I think definitely it has to be like that. Systematic way. You have to see where your senior players, how long you think that they can contribute to the team, and is there a ready-made somebody there in your squad who can replace that person? These things are very important for long-term football. Football. when we started football, we believed in, okay, ये season आ रहा है, इस season में अच्छा team बनाना और जीतना है. This was the concept when we played. Like I'm sure Monkey, like when we used to switch from one team to other team, भाई वो लोग अच्छा team बना रहे हैं, चलो उधर जाना है, उधर खेलेंगे, वो लोग पैसा भी ठीक दे रहे और लगता है जीतेंगे. मतलब this used to be, एक नया कोच आया, वो इंडियन कोच लाया, उसको वो मंगी से भी अच्छा है, मेरे साथ भी अच्छा है, उसके साथ भी अच्छा है, वो अपने प्लेयर्स को लाता है और टीम स्ट्रांग. It happens that way. Sometimes coaches do bring their own players. I'm not saying that's wrong, but what I'm saying, club need to have a policy to have that their own youth system going on and going. So step by step they coming up through the ranks in senior team, and you have to have plan for your senior players. Once they will reach in an age where they will only have a role to maybe come as sub, or they will only be fit for the less time, or is there anyone ready to take those places? That's very important, and that has to be, I think that concept is under now there.
Mangi, I'll take that same question और उसको मैं थोड़ा आगे लेके जाता हूँ, क्योंकि अक्सर क्या होता है कि जब अपने बैच के बारे में बात करना होता है ना किसी को भी, तो कहते अबे हमारे टाइम में तो हम 10-10 चक्कर मारते थे, किसी का भी, if you're comparing to a new batch. My point is, these boys coming 1920, you compare it to the batch you guys had, same age group 1920. Would you say this batch that is coming up at the highest level of Indian football is better prepared and more aware of how to play at the highest level of Indian football?
I think to compare 2 different or 3 different generations, I think would be unfair, I would say, because the time and place were different, right? I mean, because yes, we can argue on different, different. I mean, it's different. I mean,
yeah, of course, you take everything into account, Mangi, for sure. You guys did not have a certain amount of coaching, so you didn't have a certain amount of whatever, everything, raw materials that aid in making you a better player. So I'm saying, keeping all of that in mind, now the players that are coming, you suppose they're better suited for top flight Indian football. That's all.
Now I think the advantage that what this generation of players, what they have is, first thing, I think I'm talking about support staff. I'm talking about when I say the support staff, like it's not just one head coach who is looking after everything. No, so you have like you have when you say we talk about the staff, it's not just assistant coach, but the goalkeeping coach. It can be maybe a psychologist, maybe a lot. I mean, fitness trainer, your essential coach, your doctor, your physio, because those every so each of them roles are so important in the team. So now the thing is, for these boys, they have that access to that sort of मतलब क्या बोलते हैं उसको ना
knowledge को access है आपके पास,
knowledge
expertise.
So they have access to the expertise and the knowledge. So I think if they're a little smart, I would say I think that's the reason why. I mean, one of the factors I would say is like why so many football players are coming up is because they get access to those knowledge and the expertise, so that helps them. So some of them, the sooner the better they realize it, then they utilize it to the maximum. Then chances for them to be more well equipped and ready to face and step into the bigger picture. I think I would say more equipped.
Yeah, and for everyone thinking who these coaches are, by the way, they're all Indian coaches who we're talking about, who are in support staff. It's these Indian coaches who are making these players, so who are imparting all this knowledge. So ये हमारे देश में ना एक ये पुराना एक बाहर की सोच है कि जी इंडियन कोच अभी भी पहुंचा नहीं है वहां पे, फॉरेन कोच आता है तो उसके पास एक मैजिक वॉन्ड होता है और वो आके सब कुछ बदल देता है. But it is actually all the work on the Indian player, and you have to say, because जो आपका main coach है Ishwak Mangi, they are too bothered by the result because it's their neck on the line, sir. Neck on the line. You're bothered on the result. Next match, next day, next match, next day, formation. Khatam. It is your Indian coach who's working behind the scenes making sure the
Yes.
supply line का लड़का अच्छा आ रहा है आपके लिए.
Absolutely. In reserve teams, you have mostly all Indian coaches. Or for the national team youth age groups, you have Indian coaches who are working hard. You see now that new batch of arrows, Akash Misra we were talking about, coached by all Indian coaches only. I think that's very right of you saying that. Unfortunately, we have been ignoring, like the coaching system, which is previous from I think from 6-7 years now, improving a lot of young generation coaches have come up. How Mangi was saying, now availability of sports science and everything for their players, they can use their talent as maximum they can reach to their maximum capacity, like to utilize their maximum abilities by having these scientific new methods. All the teams have GPS telling them how fit they are, everything. Now
How much are
training,
these guys running? By the way, sorry to interrupt. How much are they running on average, Ishwak?
11 kilometers per match, 10
10,
11
11.
easily.
Yeah.
That's not bad, huh? And what is the norm, international
and
norm for
yeah,
running?
11 12 same.
Oh, okay.
Or yes, 105 to 110 for entire team. So
And it's not just a question of reserve teams and such, but also at the now, I suppose you would call the I League lower league. So at the lower league level, the coaching staff, I mean, and then you go on to the state league, whether it's all the state leagues that are producing all of this talent, academies that are producing all of this talent. Of course, there are some foreign inputs that come in at some places, perhaps Round Glass, for example. But if you look at the vast majority of coaching staffs in, for example, the Mizoram Premier League, they would all be local Mizoram coaches, or at the most coaches from the region, and these are the guys who are also working at the grassroots level, at the academy level, as you guys all do whenever you get the chance to get a break from your day jobs and go back home. And it's a consistent thing. आप लोग तो 10 साल से कर रहे हैं almost, having camps in your hometown when you go back home, all of that, and now it's becoming more structured, that these academies are much more focused towards creating the kind of players that have the abilities and the support that they need to go up to the top level. So yeah, it's I think it's one of the big positives. You can't have players, I think, emerging unless the coaching staff or the educators are of a certain standard and have the desire to get their players into those positions.
Exactly. Mangi, I have to ask you, for एक time पे होता था कि India produces a lot of defenders, right? Now all these players we've spoken about are fast, nimble-footed boys looking to attack the opposition goal.
Yeah.
Would I be wrong in saying कि बड़े कम defender दिख रहे हैं मैं नए लड़कों की बात कर रहा हूँ? Has any new defender caught the eye?
Not
really. जो defenders हैं उनको midfield में खेलने का chance मिल रहा है.
ऐसे गौरव बोरा को
I don't know. मैंने तो नहीं देखा यार. Like, no, I mean, that's
see what happens. In football, you guys have to understand why we produce this less or that less, and time to time. What happens? You will see this trend will change once we start the AFC norms. Like 4+1 formation, because then coaches will think, where do we want to fit these foreigners? What kind of players we need to have Indian, which are the important positions and all that. Then you will see, for example, many teams might go one defender, one midfielder, 2 for one number 10 and numbers. You will see all of a sudden a lot of defenders playing in Indian football, and you and me all, we will sit. This season we are seeing emerging of a lot of center backs. Or it might be other way around. They may have 2 defenders and 2 strikers, and all of a sudden we'll say a lot of midfielders are playing now. So it will always depend on how this trend of using the foreigners will happen. You just wait once this AFC norm will start.
Mm.
Teams will think of what kind of foreigners they want. Do they want two center backs? If they want two center backs, that means more Indian players playing up front. So
I think I'll just second to what Ispakbhai said also now, no? Because maybe that 3v1 rules probably will definitely have some different story to tell. Like, if we have to compare now, like having the 5 foreigners now, because just looking back, I mean, it's a history now. Doesn't make any sense. But I'm talking about like before the ISL, when I League. I remember, like, because when I was with Churchill, I remember, like, for 4-5 seasons we had only like Indian center backs and
yes,
like 2 striker and 1 midfielder, and the same with the Dempo also, and maybe a couple of more. So maybe that was like an opportunity for me and for Govin or Robilson, for all of us to step up and perform. And I think we did well also.
all exactly.
Yeah, so even for Mahesh Bhai, there, like for Dempo also. So a few of us were like leading the back line. So probably that might again happen, like once the rule change. I mean, once we start complying the AIFC's, like for foreigners rule again.
Yeah.
But saying that, I think that's one part. But also, I guess, a matter of time, I guess, by also to see, you talk about the structure and the coaches giving a lot of importance about players even at the youth level also to focus on training in a structured environment now. I think it's just a matter of time. Like, so probably today we have only few AFC Pro licensed coaches, because I think the our generations or even the younger generation of coaches also come. See, by as much as you prepare like in the best possible way, also there's no guarantee you're going to win a football match.
Yeah.
But I think many of us who are coming in also, at least we are eager to learn. We are open to learn. We try to understand like situations, and maybe once we get the opportunity, it's just, that's why I said it's a matter of time. Once we have the opportunity, once we have the responsibility given or on us, and once we have a team also, I think like I think we all are getting ready. I mean, it's just we are preparing, like for an opportunity. I mean, so it's quite the other day we had a chat also. So he's waiting for an opportunity, and what he will have his team of staff, and once it's just a matter of having a team in whatever the level. And I think so we can't be always relying on the foreign coaches or the foreign players, right? Every time. Yes, we need, because we need their experience, we need their expertise, but at some point we need to take over as well.
Mangi, it's the same way how a player needs a playing time. It's same for the coaches.
Yeah.
You need a game time to prepare your game plan also.
Yeah.
To be head coach, you can't improve always just being assistant. Like it's very important to learn the game and through the experience of these wonderful coaches.
Yeah.
But there will be time where you have to decide, as last time in the show, Renedy Vai said the same thing, where we all, whether it's Mangi, me, Guilford, Maharaj, Renedy, we have to take decisions and to face the music by ourselves.
Yeah. No, because eventually you win, then you stay. It's like everywhere. It's like as a life of a coach. I mean, it's you win, you're there with the job. If you don't win, you're out. For that, I think we're also learning to be ruthless, for example. So we're preparing. I mean, like just hoping that we all get some good opportunities, and for that understandable.
What do you mean by ruthless, Mangi? Sorry. So if you could put it into example.
I mean, ruthless in a sense, because like we talk, I think भाई अपना अने भाई ने जो mention किया था, the structure का बात करता है. So like Ispakbhai said, that preparation का बात करता है. So we also trying to understand that how exactly like to prepare a team. I mean, so
not leaving anything basically.
Not leaving.
Yes, be confident and be brave enough to face the thing.
Believe in your process. I mean, like so you have to believe in something, right? Tomorrow I can't keep changing. Like अचानक decide कि Delhi जाना है, अचानक रास्ता से इधर उधर घूम रहे, गाड़ी भटक रहा है, तो we can't do that, right? So at least for that we are also preparing. I mean, understanding the situations, and we might do good or might not do good also, but that's okay. That's life of any life with in any profession. But when I say ruthless, matlab ye कि like I said, like in living nothing,
nothing to chance.
Nothing, yeah, for a chance, like so For that again, yeah, we all have to be. ऐसा भी नहीं हो सकता ना कि यार कोई आपको आके कि यार मेरा टीम चलाओ, ऐसा नहीं कर सकता. So we have to be ready also, right? So for that, I
Fair
think
point.
I think you could see that, like, you can see that a lot of coaches that coming up also are kind of quite hungry and eager to take up the challenge. So for that, I think we need to step up and just reach out to the clubs also that we are ready now. We want to take this now because someone need to give us the opportunity, right? And for
Yeah.
that, I mean, we are not just asking or begging for a job, or because we feel like we've been with this game for last 20. I mean, Bachpan say. So we believe that also that, yeah, I mean, we're learning, we're getting better, and we just need another opportunity, and we want to see that we make it. If not make it, that's okay. That's life. I mean, we move on from there again. So
True. Ishwaq has to leave. So before you leave, Ishwaq, because he has a bubble arrangement and he has to go for some social arrangement in the bubble. Ishwaq, just before we leave, हमने यहाँ पे young लड़कों के नाम लिए. Could you name a few players जिनके नाम अभी तक हमने नहीं लिए, who we should be watching out for in the next 7 rounds? ये saying कि इस लड़के पे ध्यान रखना, ये है देखने वाला लड़का.
Well, I can't do that. That's a trade-off trick in my case, because we do the scouting. But there are some really good players who are playing. I'm happy that Ankit Yadav is playing for Jamshedpur, getting some time. He's scoring goal, and I think most of the players are playing this season who I was expecting to play. Amarjeet, I would like to see more. Definitely, I feel he's a wonderful player. And there are a couple of goalkeepers who are doing quite good. We should keep eye on them. Definitely one is Odisha goalkeeper. I'm really impressed with him. And he's still developing player. I think he has a bright future. And regarding all mainly I wanted to see this year Yasir, and I think he has been doing really good, and he's showing that maturity. And I want to see more about. He's not young, but he's still young. Farooq in Mumbai. Unfortunately, he has not.
कैसे मिलेगा playing time वहाँ पे sir? वो मैं तो वे सोच रहा हूँ.
Yeah, but he's a fantastic player,
So as a left sort of attacking player, another Manipuri boy who's been very impressive has been Bipin, I think.
I think East Bengal have quite a young Manipuri guys who are there.
Yeah. वो बड़े solid player. Rightful जो उनका लड़का है.
Yes, so they are doing good. We need to, but as Mangi said, we have seen in life now. Mangi already said it looks like entire life has been with the football only. So we have seen a lot of talented players coming one season and then next season you are not. They are nowhere, which is unfortunate because they usually have whether it's how they manage themselves or how they are managed, which earlier Mangi was saying. These are very important part now in modern football because most of the players are managed by their managers. What kind of advice they give them, which team they will go. You have example of some of the top young players in ATK. I don't want to mention the name. We all know them.
If you want.
Or not playing anywhere. Like they were the stars. So we thought that they will come up with, if they had good potential, and you don't see them now anymore. So those decisions, which team to go and where to get game time is very, very important for me. And as I told you, how they manage themselves and how they are managed is a big influence in modern football.
Sorted, sir. And may you be managing your night well now, wherever you're going.
So just before you leave and after you, Ishfaq, maybe Mangi can take the same question. But do you think the time now, जो हम pool की बात कर रहे हैं या जो structure की बात कर रहे हैं, and how you guys are all working from the grassroots up, do you think it's now a situation where we are ready to have more clubs kind of competing at a national level, so that more of these players who have the level of ability get a chance to play and express themselves, and more Indian coaches get a chance to kind of lead those teams, shape those teams, all of that.
Yes, I think it's very important. When you have team, you will obviously have more players. It's There are players who are not getting chance and who are good enough to play in ISL also, and ISL has already created a door for Indian coaches also now. Like if, we, as Mangi said, this unfortunately from past 4 years we have not conducted any pro license. I think 3 or 4 years. This makes us little bit, underqualified for the job. But meantime, if your federation is willing to accept your application, we will send you for the pro license, and you have the experience of 2-3 years in ISL. You will be considered as the job for the head coach also. But I think time has come for the federation also. I think coaching staff, I think Mr. Savio is trying his best to have pro license courses here, which we need. I think we all are waiting, and that will eligible us for all the jobs in country, including the national team and everything, which is I think one big group of that our batch is still waiting. I think only Clifford have just finished or still finishing, because most of these pro license courses are happening in other part of the Asia.
Yeah.
So he was doing in Uzbekistan, I guess, and yes, we need to do that. And as ISL have already created that window for Indian coaches, it's up to now Indian Super League teams when they will start showing the faith in Indian coaches. I personally feel that day is not far.
Yes, sir. We also hope that day is not far, because फिर आप लोग हमें playing 11 में जगह दे दोगे, एक गेम तो खिला ही दोगे कहीं ना कहीं से। तो फर्जी वाला वो नहीं होता, वो पब्लिक जॉब के लिए, वो दिखाने के लिए। सुपर कप में खेलेंगे आखिरी मुकाबला। Ishfaq, thank you so much for joining us, Ishfaq.
Thank you,
and
guys.
Hopefully we'll get you again soon. Thank you, Ishfaq. Thank you.
Bye, love to you all.
Bye.
Agree, brother.
Mangi, not gonna hold you for too long.
Yeah.
I just actually wanted to get your thoughts on Sandesh Jingan, because the last couple of seasons of Sandesh Jingan, and here's a guy we've been seeing since the start of the ISL. You guys know him from before that also. वो खेल रहा है. The last couple of seasons haven't been his best.
As Baichung pointed out, he's a United Sikkim product.
हाँ, United Sikkim का लड़का है. No, but point is that body language देखो, sluggishness थोड़ा आ गया था गेम में. You were not hearing the right things about him from outside, right? Now, cut to this season after your ACL and everything that's happened, and you see the way he's playing right now. Would you say this is one of the best you've seen him play in a long time, or would I be reading too much into it? Just the kind of, and also the fact that he has Terry alongside him, and he has that solid backline of Preetham and Subhashi. So it's a very experienced backline.
Yeah. In fact, we cannot deny the reality that he is still the best defender we have currently. Sandesh, maybe he was like what 5 season, right, in Kerala. And watch and whatever, so it might be wrong for me also just to come to a conclusion why the last 1 or 2 seasons he was like sort of, we expected more from him maybe. But again, the expectations from the crowd, expectations from the club, maybe a lot of factors might play into his mind that maybe he couldn't bring out the best that what we want to see. But saying that again, he's still the best. And after his injury, and we were like, at times we used to write to each other, and I was happy even after the first game. I just wrote him just so good to see you that back on the pitch, and you need that, and I think it's just a matter of time. I think he's in a good team. Etiquette looks solid, not just on the back, but front, middle, everywhere. Etiquette probably is one of the best this season. and the Sundays has been, you know,
But
doing
does it look like उसने कुछ थोड़ा current आ गया है वापस? You know, in just the way he's covering, the way he's going in for tackles, he's talking a lot more. You know, ये सब छोटी-छोटी
uh,
चीजें at least मैं देख रहा था कि ऐसा लग रहा है he's enjoying himself a lot again.
yeah, that is why I'm saying, like, you know, unless you know, because it's a lot of factors, like I said again, maybe he's in peace, like, you know, when it got, maybe personal life,
Yeah.
maybe with family ke saath. Maybe he feel like he is shorted with almost everything in life. He just want to play football, and he's enjoying, like you said again, you could see that he's enjoying, you know, so a lot of things plays a role there. And maybe with age also, maybe he's like at least one, you know, not that he's old, but like, you know, maybe maturity bhi aa jata hai, like, you know, so
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
so many years now, so probably for the next coming few years it will be like all about Sunday Jingam again. So you know that you need to you can't have a, like, you know, having some problem personally, you know, ऐसा नहीं कि कोई problem था, ऐसा नहीं, but your mind has to be in a good place, in a peaceful place. So
Absolutely.
so hopefully, I mean, like, you know, so COVID se bolo ya injuries and everything, probably you never know. He
Monkey,
might have,
did you ever have to go through a ACL in your career?
no, unfortunately, I
So
didn't.
what was your worst injury in football?
My worst injury in football was my PCL strain that I had in my last season with Pune. Yeah, so that was my last season. I didn't go for any surgery, but yeah, you don't want to go through that.
So when you're say when you get injured, and then comes the layoff, and then comes the period of again strengthening yourself, and then getting back into the game.
Yeah.
Is there a way that you sort of even though you've gone through a hadsa, I don't know hadsa is the right word, but I'm not getting another word, a setback.
Yeah.
Is there a way that you're kind of rewinding the clock and getting fresh and getting back on the field? Does that also happen?
Yeah, it happens also, for sure. But for that, you need you need a good bunch of people around you.
Yeah.
Your friends, like, you know, for you to be in the right state of, you know, in a good frame of mind. That is what you need. So, like I said again, I'm happy and very glad to see the Sundays is back. So again, you need good people around you, like just good positive people around you, not like just अगर खराब कर रहा है तो like someone come and tell you that, hey, you're not doing right. So ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि, like, you know, just चल रहे, you know, no one is pointing out even when you are not doing right things as well. So it can happen, like, you know, because you've been out for a few months recovering, rehab chal raha hai, then you are eager, hungry to come back. And like I said again, people around you, it's कौन है आपका, you know, around, that's so important. And
yeah, true. The people you have around you, the vibe around you is so important.
around you,
There has to be positive, man. It has to be. It's so easy to go fall into a khai, into a
Yeah.
negative khai, and
Yeah.
thinking, "अच्छा ये मेरे बारे में वो कह रहा था." Because see, you're playing at the highest level. You've been there. You're playing in a position where so many people want to play. So
Yeah.
everyone will always have an opinion about you,
Yeah.
and that opinion will not always be the best. But
Yeah.
if you always go with the expectation that I will only get good opinions and not bad opinion, then you will do yourself more harm than
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
So, you know, like if you let the negativity creep in,
Yeah.
and for the negativity to creep in, you have to be, in a sense, you also have to block out the other noises where people are praising you.
Yeah.
Because ये नहीं हो सकता कि I only let the positive noises come in, I block out the negative noises. It's a way of saying कि I'm blocking out the noise.
Yeah.
I'm only letting those people come in who value to me,
Yeah.
you know, who whatever they say to me comes from a good place.
Yeah.
तो अगर मेरे को डांट लगा रहा है तो अच्छी जगह से बोल रहा है.
Yeah. No, you need that. You need those people around you. And in other factor is like, for, I would say, like, you know, because Sundays has tested the success so far in his career. And once you sort of tested that, you know, you know that like, you know, कि ऊपर में खड़ा रहना, it's tough, but उसका मजा भी अलग है. And you are desperate. You are like, you know, you're hungry to come back. So motivation apne aap bhi, it's not just question about the monetary, you know, wo nahi bol raha hu, but it's, you love playing football and you enjoy playing football and you have tasted, you know that you are one of the best center back the country has, and then you want to get back, you know. So under say, you know, matlab fire.
What's that feeling like, Mangi? What's that feeling like when you step out onto the field and you can see that everyone is looking at you and saying, and not from a way of ye kaun hai, but from a way of respect. कि ये वो बंदा है.
Hmm.
What is that feeling like when you is it like a high? Is it like a serious high in the head at the time? कि wow.
I don't know how to explain it. It's tough. It's tough to explain. But the one thing is, like I keep saying to some of the players now, see a lot of potential in them. Okay.
Hmm.
The thing is, they keep trying. One thing is keep trying. Try to कर है मतलब मिला नहीं. Haven't tested that कि try क्या कर क्यों रहा है, क्यों try कर रहा है. But those guys who have sort of tested, जो आप बोल रहे हैं ना, whether it's a high or मतलब I don't know, it's difficult to describe like words.
Yeah.
But it's like for example, like maybe like say those guys who play as a forward, for them like scoring goal might be just it gives them high, for example.
Yeah.
People say like forwards are more selfish because they want to score goals and that's all they want and blah blah whatever. But same goes with us. Maybe Sandesh, I think if you ask him also, with me when I was playing, but pata nahi kab khela tha, but what I'm saying. So for us, like because to intercept or to win a tackle, that gives us a different high again. Honestly speaking,
totally.
like you sort of outsmart a striker. You feel like, man, I did the job. Then वो एक motivation चलता रहता है उसमें. It's a chain reaction sort of a thing, like so I'm not looking to score a goal. I'm looking like can I stop this, or can I put my मतलब एकदम my put my chest and block, or just उसका एक high भी रहता है, उसका मजा है ना. So until and unless any player वो मजा तब तक समझ में नहीं आएगा ना, it's very difficult for any players to be at the top. That's what I feel.
और जब वो मजा आ रहा होता है तो फिर मुंह से भी बातें हो रही होती हैं खुल के. You're not quiet, you're talking non-stop.
मजा आ रहा होता है ना, then you don't even realize it. You don't think about it, because like you said again, when we are like say I'm talking about वही ना, when I was playing, then हम लोग का बात वही आता है कि that there's another hundreds of center back waiting you to go away मेरा जगह लेने के लिए, right? And but you are not really thinking about it. You're just thinking about it. I want to be available for the selection and I need to stay fit. I need to look after myself, recovery, sleep, blah, blah, whatever. Then you're trying to put the best, best possible performance. So how are you going to do that? That is something that you need to keep, you keep thinking about it. And the way you बोला ना कि कहाँ पे high मिलता है आपको ना, जैसे like as a defender, एक tackle.
That is true.
Yeah,
that is true.
Intercept.
Any भाई high की बात हो रही है.
ठंडा भी है वहाँ पे.
नहीं मैं I'm just saying हमने टेड का एंटा कर लिया. You have anything else to add, or we'll just wind it up then, or we can let Mangi leave?
No, I think we can let Mangi leave because वो योगिस्तान पे हैं, तो वहाँ उनका I'm sure कर्फ्यू वगैरह होगा, और भाई की शक्ल से भी लग रहा है कि उनका मतलब someone who takes good care of himself, like he's saying.
I know, bro. I've been looking at the joy line. मैं कहा भाई ये आ गया बाहर, सब आ गया बाहर भाई, tight एकदम.
Training as hard as
मेरा भी आ गया, ऐसा नहीं कि. So I mean very.
भाई.
So या तो ये angle you put the angle.
Then you're asking. What I was going to say was, you're asking these guys who are among the most humble and down-to-earth guys that I have met as
sportsmen,
like a 20-year career hanging out with professional athletes, to talk about what kind of feeling you get when you're the big man on the pitch. So obviously Mangi's response was as understated as would be expected in that scenario. But we can let him go, but we must get the kind of guarantee that he'll be back soon.
Yeah, Mangi, you have to come regularly now, yaar. Huh?
भाई हम ना भी नहीं बोल सकते. अने भाई बुलाता है, आप बुलाता है.
नहीं तो हाँ, then
no,
we are coming.
No, because in these key positions is where I think a lot of the जो हम building की बात कर रहे हैं, whether it's building confidence or building options for the national team, or building maybe various clubs and what direction they go in. The fact is that everything can't happen from the sides. There has to be some central foundation on which it's all built. and Mangi
Yeah.
has 70 plus caps for India. He's captain India in that central position, in that key
Yeah.
role, So, and as a coach, he brings that sensibility to the conversation, which
No, which is why I was
unfortunately,
harping about Sandesh bhai, because a fully fit Sandesh, a full of
Yeah.
confidence Sandesh, will only do wonders for the national team, because he's
Yeah.
playing in that center position and he's calling the game from there. Then,
Yeah. So it's something that we have to look at in more depth as the season goes on. Rightly, both these guys as coaches have said कि आप 6 गेम 7 गेम के बाद overreact ना करें. ऐसा ना सोचें कि like all these young kids are going to come
मेरे
and
को
like
भाई मेरे को अच्छा
go
लगा
and-
मंगी. Why I'll say why, because मंगी यार ACL के बाद एक क्वेश्चन मार्क भी होता है कि क्या फॉर्म वापस आएगा नहीं आएगा, क्या वो फ्लो आएगा नहीं आएगा. कुछ लोगों को टाइम लगता है. Some people just don't discover it. But it's so happy to see that here's your guy who's a potential India captain.
Yeah.
Right. And in the position he's playing, even if he's not captain, he's one of those few leaders on the field.
Yeah.
So it's good to see that he's finding his form, he's finding his oomph, on the field. You can, it differs. You can say whatever word you want. But I guess we all are talking about that feeling of being full of power and ready to play.
Yeah.
And you can see from the fact that he's being able to do it while staying on his feet, not needing to make those last ditch challenges, jump in, make tackles where perhaps it's not necessary, which might happen at the international stage, sure. But they're seeming in control, and it's very good to see. And all the points that he brought up about whether it's maybe his personal life, this is all, of course, just everything that goes into it. But how comfortable he's feeling in the team structure with the coach, what kind of conversations they are having, all of it plays a massive part. और आप bubble में भी हैं ऊपर से, जिसके बारे में इशफाक से डिटेल में बात करेंगे. और वैसे हम भी जाने वाले हैं बबल में भाई, आई लीग के, तो फिर साथ में बैठ के we can all lament.
I think I just put what's the one last line to that, because there must be hundreds of things which Sandesh must have went through which we don't know.
Yeah.
Honestly, I mean, like जैसा अभी अपना वंदित भाई ने बताया था कि ACL के बाद क्या, whether he will be again back or not, but he came back.
Yeah.
And that's something that हम लोग तो अभी चलो वो आ गया, खेल रहा है, अच्छा खेल रहा है, इसलिए हम बात करें उनके बारे में. But we don't know what he went through, and the amount of that hard work. And काफी time ऐसा भी आया होगा कि he must have felt so low. And that's when I said कि having the right people around him helps him to ready and just performing again, and performing better than if we have to compare last whatever.
But these right people come at a cost as well, right, Mangi? The right people meaning right nutritionist, right coach, psychologist. All of this comes at a cost as well. Cost being matlab monetary cost.
Yeah, even monetary cost. Even he went to Spain for his rehab, for to Madrid, for and I think whether who spent it, whether he spent whatever. I mean, let's keep that aside, the expenses, but still, having that, I need to get back. वो अंदर से आता है ना, भाई वो खराब लगता है. Let's put it that way. Even I didn't have my surgery, but the thing is वो muscle, you have this a big thigh, and suddenly एक thigh का छोटा हो जाता है, then you just feel weak. चलने में भी नहीं हो रहा है. Then you feel like, am I a football player? Am I going to again playing? एक feeling अंदर से ना negative feeling बहुत आते जाते हैं.
And that's human. That's human.
And that's the time you need people around you. That is what I'm talking about. So it's good to see, honestly. अपना संदेश भाई वापस आया, and I hope that he continue to have a good season. They've been doing very well. So
yeah, Mangi, it's good to see that he's gotten back to normal business. We're going to let you go. We've done close to an hour, which is not normal on the show, because we generally go for 2 hours, 2.5 hours. हम निकालते हैं. तो but we're letting you with the promise that जब भी आपको बुलावा जाएगा, please, आप जिस भी कोने में हो भारत के, please try making yourself available.
अगर भारत में नहीं होगा तो
अगर आप जहाँ भी दुनिया के जिस भी कोने में होंगे, please try making yourself available and coming on chat with us.
More than
Thank you so much for your time, Mangi. Thank you so much for your time as always. Thank you.
Yeah,
Good
it's
to
my
see
Thanks
you.
pleasure,
brother,
भाई.
take care.
अरे भाई,
Good to
enjoy
see
your
you.
उत्तराखंड. कभी हम लोग को बुलाओ यार, अकेला अकेला
अरे भाई, पहले
चलो.
शो में ही बुला ले, उतना ही बहुत है.
Annie,
But,
just
yeah.
stay.
Yeah. Okay, guys.
Yeah.
See you,
Thanks,
Mangi.
thanks
See
so
you,
much,
Mangi.
Mangi.
See you.
Pleasure as
Bye-bye.
always, man.
Bye-bye.
Great to see you.
Okay.
Bye.
Annie bhai, so today these boys have started their own petition on the chat where I think they're saying 3 more likes for 100 likes. So Maro bhai, 3 like. क्या हो गया?
Can I do it 3 more times?
नहीं, that's not fair. That's not fair. But 3 like मारो यार. कौन से हम पैसे ले रहे हैं like मारने के? हाँ, 3 likes more.
किसी के भी नहीं लगते.
किसी के पैसे नहीं लगते. But today after भाई, I don't know. I really enjoyed the conversation we had today. हाँ, मजेदार conversation था भाई.
Yeah, it's always good to chat with these guys, you know, who've been in the scene for so long, and they are very much in it even now, because they bring so many different perspectives, and as I don't know, maybe I've like it without meaning to get like into personal sort of equations and stuff like that. They're all people who we know very well and have spent a lot of time with, and have seen transition from player into coach, and then once they've learned their coaching, sort of done their badges and stuff like that, then they've actually gone into roles as coaches. So then they are kind of interacting with the kids and with younger players and with, I suppose, management and ownership and all of that. So they're also constantly maturing. So they bring so many different perspectives into the conversation that it's always really, I mean, it's absolutely the vibe that this show was started from.
Yeah.
As a kind of oral history, as a kind of documentation of what is happening on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis in Indian football. So yeah, undoubtedly, man. And
100 likes.
You got to say that, like, all of these guys, I mean, none of them takes any money for doing this. They make time on their own time. They have several other commitments. So full marks to them, much respect, and they're doing it so that the community as a whole, the larger community who's following Indian football, kind of is participating in these conversations, which is what.
No, it's really good to see that you now have a bunch of these former players who put their point of view across, who come on platforms not just like ours but other platforms as well, and they're regularly talking about Indian football. It is so important that you have these voices talking about it rather than these made up commentators and experts like us. It's the need of the hour that you need these guys to come on TV and talk about the system because they have experienced the system unlike anyone else. तो बाहर से कोई जितना भी बोल ले Indian football is doing well, Indian football is doing this, Indian football is doing that, एक reality check के तौर पे इन लोगों से बात करनी बहुत जरूरी होती है. तो reality check मिल जाता है, आपको पता चल जाता है क्या हो रहा है.
And I think slowly, steadily, I mean, there's so many batchmates, like these guys talk about each other as batchmates, kind of the same way as we do. But whether it's Cliffy or Steven or, Mahesh and Samir and so many of these guys who are in, Mehraj, of course, has been on the show often and all that. But I think as we kind of get on and build our own capacities, we'll be in a position to have more of these chats with more of these guys, and I think that'll just add a lot of substance to the conversation that we have. It's not then just a bunch of guys sitting and gossiping about what's happening in the league and what we think may or may not happen or shouldn't happen.
Like honestly, today I enjoyed the chat because it was a lot more wholesome than just a football game. And I know you guys like analysis of a game and all, and we tried doing analysis of a game this season, so you can't say that we aren't doing that. But in chats में करने में ज़्यादा मजा आता है because it takes into account the wealth of experience and the time you've devoted to the sport and the time you spent on the field. It comes with only that, all this knowledge. हम लोग कहीं से prepare करके आते नहीं हैं भाई लोग. हम लोग कहीं से पढ़ाई करके भी नहीं आते हैं. ये बस आता है क्योंकि जहन में है, क्योंकि इतने सालों से या तो वो खेल के कर रहे हैं, हम उनको देख के कर रहे हैं, और फिर उसका सम्मेलन जो आप देखते हैं वो 420 ग्राम्स होता है. तो मजेदार. ठीक है भाई. चैट पे आया है कि सुनने में आ रहा है मोहम्मडन की आधी टीम को कोविड हो गया है. ओके, We have no clue about that. But भाई आप कब जा रहे हैं बबल में, और कहाँ, जो हमारे दर्शक लोग हैं, there's still 85 people watching. कब जा रहे हैं आप बबल में, क्या करने वाले हैं बबल में, कब तक हैं आप वहाँ पे, और आपकी विदाई अच्छी तरीके से होगी फिर, क्योंकि आप फिर कुछ अच्छा काम करके जा रहे हैं कि आप अपनी घर वालों को छोड़ के जा रहे हैं थोड़ी देर के लिए, तो उनको भी अच्छा लग रहा होगा.
हाँ बिल्कुल, उनको तो बहुत बढ़िया लग रहा है भाई. वो तो ऑलरेडी मतलब क्या कहते हैं, तैयार हैं. डिपार्चर वाली बैंड तैनात है कि कब जाएगा, कितना जल्दी जाएगा. जितना जल्दी जाए उतना बेहतर है. बट नो, 9th of Jan is kick off date for the I League. And as we know now, the fixtures are out. So the first game of the season is Sudeva Delhi FC, our hometown club, playing against Bombden Sporting. So
Yeah.
it's a big one for those of us. I mean, we're used to, I think, a lifetime of covering low league football. So in this scenario where, as you can all tell, we are not doing this from the studio, offices aren't functioning as normal, it's a great opportunity that Sudeva Delhi FC have offered to us to come on as kind of independent consultants to help them out with some of their media and communications work, but also to be a part of the bubble and do our own independent stuff, and to document the journey of this Delhi club in the Hero I League. I think it's definitely a kya kehte hain, once in a lifetime probably season, given the pandemic and the conditions under which we are operating. There are many positives, many negatives to all of it. But the fact is that football is happening and a significant amount of resources are being dedicated towards making sure that football continues. So it was a hard opportunity or option to turn down. So we will be there with Sudeva, and therefore, hopefully, since we are in the bubble, get a chance to, look at all of the teams that are in the Hero I League closer from the ground and things like that. So hopefully lots more young players, to talk about, because if you can see so many youngsters in the ISL, imagine what's happening.
मैं तो बता रहा हूँ, हम अपनी ना टैलेंट एजेंसी खोल देते हैं, 420 टैलेंट एजेंसी.
भाई अगर ये करना होता तो हम 20 साल पहले नहीं खोल लिए होते.
नहीं, तब इन फैशन नहीं था भाई, तब दिमाग नहीं था. हम फर्स्ट मूवर वाले लोग नहीं है. हम 10 लोगों को देखते हैं, फिर कहते हैं अच्छा हम भी कर सकते थे, But no, also the boys are saying please come tomorrow. Are we putting out the AFF episode tomorrow? So we won't come then tomorrow live.
Yeah, we are actually. We had a long and I would say, in sharp contrast to the conversation that we just had with Mangi and Ishfaq, a quite laborious conversation about मतलब क्या चल रहा है behind the scenes, the politics of I suppose sports administration in India, and it's an interesting chat for anyone who's interested in. I mean, I know there are a few of us. For example, there's a regular who watches, Aditya Vijay Kumar, who's a student of sports management. Several others who get in touch with us who are very much interested in how sport runs in this country. I think for them it'll be a very, very interesting chat, because we're talking not just about the AIFF, jinka actual AGM hua tha kal, which is then going to lead to, because elections are due. So जो खबर है वो ये है कि जो प्रफुल्ल पटेल जो प्रेसिडेंट हैं AIFF के, उनका टेन्योर खत्म हुआ था 21 दिसंबर 2020 को, और उनके 12 साल खत्म हो चुके हैं as president of this association. So therefore, by the sports code, he is no longer eligible for the position. But because of the scenario, he will remain there, and the AGM, the federation has decided to continue the kind of stint of the managing committee pending the Supreme Court's decision or say on the matter. But we've also brought in angles of what's happening in the BCCI, which is the cricket board, the boxing federation, and other Olympic sports. So to give viewers a kind of glimpse of overall, खिलाड़ी तो खेल रहे हैं और वो तो कोशिश कर रहे हैं पूरी,
बाहर
लेकिन
भी
पीछे
मैच चल
क्या
रहा
हो
है.
रहा है और हाँ बाहर जो लड़ाई चल रही है वो often that becomes far more important and far more क्या कहते हैं emphasis is paid on what's happening off the pitch than what's happening on it, and that in the end comes back to hamper the growth of Indian athletes across disciplines. So we'll have that up tomorrow.
किस पे
In
डाल रहे हो
addition to
आप?
that,
न्यूज़ क्लिक इन पे 420 ग्राम्स पे?
जी बिल्कुल दोनों चैनल पे डालेंगे. डिपेंड
अच्छा.
करता है अगर आप लाइव जाना चाहें कल भी.
नहीं लाइव क्योंकि
हमारे
लड़के कह रहे हैं कि फ्राइडे सैटरडे देयर आर नो मैच, नो थर्सडे फ्राइडे देयर आर नो मैचेस, सैटरडे इज द नेक्स्ट मैच, सैटरडे से अपना टेस्ट मैच शुरू हो जाएगा तो मेरा तो मुश्किल है फिर. तो इफ यू वांट वी कैन डू वन लाइव टुमारो आफ्टर द गेम एंड डिपेंड्स व्हाटएवर.
should be up for it unless I get desperately held up, in which case हमारा भी वो क्या कहते हैं आजकल 5 substitutions वाला रूल चल रहा है, तो अगर मैं नहीं मिला तो कोई और आ जाएगा आपके साथ बैठने बात करने, कोई दिक्कत.
चल ठीक है वी टेक अ कॉल, बट कल आपका वो AIFF वाला एपिसोड तो जा ही रहा है ना, तो वो आप लोग just be keep a lookout on the 420 grams YouTube page and also News Click In's YouTube page. दोनों पेजेस पे डल जाएगा कल. It's not a live episode, but do enjoy the
it's a
chat
recorded
whenever you
episode,
hear.
and we have 3 very senior and I think quite respectable journalists who are doing their job as the media, asking questions, raising questions, examining what is happening in the constitution क्या है फेडरेशन का, और इलेक्शंस कैसे होते हैं और क्यों होते हैं, पर्पस क्या है, एंड रिजल्ट क्या है, ये सब का. So there's Jaideep Basu, there's Sharda Ugra and Leslie Xavier, who all their inputs are very much worth listening to. So yeah, definitely keep an eye out for that.
ठीक है then. Thank you so much for watching guys. मुलाकात फिर से होगी जब भी होगी. कल एपिसोड जरूर आ रहा है आपके लिए. Keep watching and much love. Good night.